but under the whim that I'll become a lawyer.
Huh.
Acting is the kind of thing that you can learn on the job. That I aspire for versatility. I want to be able to do different kinds of work. And great that I'm not from South Bombay because I don't really cross the ceiling.
No, the point I was trying to get at, Sara, is that, let's say when you started out with, say, a Rohit Shetty or Abhishek Kapoor, Gattu sir, as it were, or right now when you're filming with Anurag Basu, if I'm not mistaken, Life in a Metro, the second part. I mean, these are all directors who are very different from each other, and you are one. Why is it that you never trained yourself to be an actor? Because that's something that you always thought you were going to be.
I didn't always think that that is something I was going to be. I went to Columbia University under the, I want to say misconception, but under the whim that I'll become a lawyer.
Huh.
I studied history and political science. I was extremely overweight. I loved my books.
So it was, you tell me this is not something you thought of. Of course
I must have thought, I did think of it in my childhood.
Yeah.
But then I let it go, I think. And I was academically inclined and physically unfit. So that combination kind of made the idea of becoming a lawyer very tempting and actual.
Huh.
And then I came back and I went on this, I was supposed to do another film and then there was a bit of wait time. And then Kedarnath just came to me and it just started. And I really believe, to a certain level at least, that acting is the kind of thing that you can learn on the job.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Like I was given a lot of love for Kedarnath because there was a lot of rawness. There was a lot of honesty, I think. Like lack of craft almost. But a soul, rather, I think. And as long as you can keep that up and you can unlearn, I think that as an actor more than anything, that's very important. Because especially for somebody like me, like I've played, like I said, the slightly more high energy, bubbly Bindas characters.
Yeah.
Now I had to let that go and kind of get into another skin. That maybe
but
even
each
is
time
not
when
Sara.
you're doing that, Sara, like for instance, if you are with, say, a David Dhawan who's been around for years, and there is a certain thing that you would demand from an actor, and then when you're with, say, Kanan Iyer or the others that you work with, you're obviously molding yourself each time. You just let the director sort of guide you then, right?
Yeah, which is very important.
How different is it to be on a David Dhawan set and
there's no comparison. You don't have to go
Usha
that far. You can just ask me how different it is to be on Homi Adajania set and this, because I was doing it simultaneously.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I've shot.
I have been on that set, by the way.
Of Homi Adajania.
Of Homi Adajania. The same one when you guys were shooting in Delhi. Yeah.
Oh.
In that Oberoi Maidens Hotel, and it's madness.
It was a lovely hotel.
Yeah, it's a beautiful hotel, and the fact that you can just get out of the room and start shooting and
No,
go back again.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was truly very amazing. But I think that in every way, Watan, Mere Watan and Murder Mubarak happening simultaneously was such a revelation for me as a human being more than anything else. Because I've always said that I aspire for versatility. I want to be able to do different kinds of work, and then come both these films at the same time.
Right.
And now they're releasing at the same time. So, yeah, it was definitely different. But again, that's the joy of being an actor, right? And
you're going by instinct, I'm presuming, not breaking it down too much in your head.
100%.
Yeah.
And especially, I think, with a film like Watan, Mere Watan, because there's no reference to the freedom struggle in my actual life.
Yeah.
There's no way that you can actually calculate to any degree the threat, the stakes, the accomplishment.
Or the world.
Or the world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of 1942.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think that is the
You know, I
only
have to
option.
say, one of the things that I loved about the film, Sara, and of course it's 1942, but it's so Bombay. Like, you see Gwalior Tank, Do or Die, which is the slogan raised for Quit India movement right there.
Karo Ya Maro.
There is Karo Ya Maro. There is Babulnath Temple, which is where your apartment is. There is Santa Cruz, where another transmission center is. There is Ballard Road, which is now Ballard Estate. I mean, did you connect with it at a Bombay level? Because you're a Bombay girl, isn't it?
Yes, I've lived in Juhu my whole
Right.
life.
Oh, you're a Juhu person.
Yeah. So
Got it.
actually, yeah, I
Santa Cruz, maybe you could connect, but
but hardly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we didn't even shoot Santa Cruz in Santa Cruz.
I'm presuming
So-
Juhu didn't even exist as a full-fledged neighborhood in 1942.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
Probably
yeah.
not. But I definitely found it very new, very interesting. And like I said before, the production designers, honestly, kudos to them. Like the tram, it was so real. I mean, it was moving. So I guess that's a real tram. But it just it transported, and it's actually great that I'm not from South Bombay because I don't really cross the ceiling very, very often.
This is the reverse now when you're talking. Like,
what
I
do you
don't
mean?
cross the sea link.
Yeah, yeah.
As in, I don't go to South
Yeah,
Bombay.
no, it's too far. But so there was a almost new lens with which I was looking at it. You know, the way that it was designed, the way that it was set. The Gwalior Maidan also was one of the hardest days of shoot. But when I watched the trailer, when I watched the film, and I've seen our song Katra Katra, there are moments of the, you know, I'm not one to be like, oh wow, I love myself. Like, I'm quite self-deprecating. But like the shot where I've picked up the flag and said Karo Ya Maro in slow motion, like, the only time I feel
I mean,
like...
you didn't pick it up in slow motion, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
but they put it in slow motion.
You didn't go like, ooh.
I could have, you never know. Maybe that's why it's so slow. No, but you know, the way we shot it, the only time I can get my eyes off the screen is if I'm watching it with my mom, because I'm like, are you proud? Are you enjoying it? A good shot? And it just feels like really nice to have been able to kind of like do that.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned your mom. One that, of course, you've grown up with her. And I realized that you're a Juhu girl. I always thought you were a Bandra girl, by the way. We're in Bandra East. I think your school was close by.
Yes, it was, right here.
Dhirubhai Ambani's school, which we'll get to in a bit. But really, like, your mom is someone that we've all been fans of at some point time in our lives, right? She raised you and Ibrahim. I have never seen, at least visually, a more clear genetic demarcation between two people. You look exactly like your mom. Your brother looks exactly like a father.
I know, me and my brother used to have this running joke that we don't look related.
No, of course you do.
But not really, right? My father and my mother are not related.
You can just put it like in that sense, right? Like in a family tree sense.
Yes.
Right? What was that like in terms of being raised in Juhu with your mom? And I'm told not just your brother, a turtle, a parrot.
Our turtle died.
Oh, damn. I'm so sorry. What is the name?
Mr. T.
Mr. T is no more. But Mr. T would live for 150 years. How?
Yeah,
I mean, turtles live for like 100
I thought
plus.
so too. And my mom had said to both of us also that she's going to put a certain property on Mr. T's name so that we look after him.
What about the parrot? Is the parrot still there?
We gave Miss B away.
Miss B is gone.
Yes.
Okay, so but these
We
Mr.
have our
B,
dog.
Oh, Mr.
His
D.
name is not Mr.
Not
D.
D. Oh, what are you saying?
His name is not Mr. D. That would have been funny.
What's the dog called?
Fuffy.
Fuffy. Okay, Mr. F.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like? Like growing up with T, D, Fluffy.
No, see, not Fluffy.
Fuffy, and in Juhu. What is growing up like with your mom actually?
I think that the more years, if I'm being honest with you, that I'm spending in the film business, I'm trying not to sound wrong, but I'm just trying to be honest also. The more grateful I am for the upbringing that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Because initially, like, you know, in 2024, we take freedom for granted. And it takes doing a film of 1942 to kind of appreciate what it was to not have that. I think the more years I'm spending here, the more I'm realizing how easy it would have been for my mom to have brought me up differently. And how grateful and thankful I am that she didn't. You know, we didn't grow up thinking that paparazzi is our birthright. I still remember when I was being photographed before Kedarnath released. And I was trying to strike the balance between being rude to them because I didn't want to be, but also not being photographed because what have I really done to be here? Like, why am I being photographed? And all this happened before the whole like nepotism chapter and chatter had started. That started like a year into my work. So I myself had started feeling a little bit like, हाँ मेरी माँ कलाकार है, father भी actor है, लेकिन मैं तो नहीं हूँ ना, तो मेरे पीछे क्यों है? So, and I'm really grateful that I kind of grew up thinking like that. Because now when they photograph me, I have a very good equation with them because somewhere I think I've earned it. So I think growing up with my mom, I think has kept me very real, very grounded.
In what sense? Like she would, I mean, you were aware
no
of her.
No film friends.
No film
Till
friends
I
at all.
made them on my own. Radhika Madan, Janvi Kapoor, Ananya Pandey are friends I made at work. You know, I was not like, oh, our parents have been actors previously, so now we have like special pani puri together or whatever. Like it was
whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that was not the vibe at all. Going to like filmy parties and all. I still remember the first one I had gone to was in 2016, like just like a couple of months before I started shooting my first film.
Which one was that?
Kedarnath.
No, as in, which was the party?
Mr. Bachchan's Diwali party. Which one was that? I was like, yeah, even if he doesn't know, that would be a weird question to ask. Yeah, sorry. Never mind. Mr. Bachchan's Diwali party.
Right.
So I also think like having like a life fully, like my security, for instance, Jeetu ji. I'm very fond of him, but I didn't feel the need for it till much later. I didn't grow up like having like 7 people around me handing me things. Like, Mom was very certain that she wanted us to have like a full life external to the films.
Which is hard when you're in Juhu, right? It's not an easy thing.
It was very easy. There was no problem
It's
at
probably
all.
even harder if you're in Dhirubhai Ambani's school. I'm sure everyone, all your classmates are children of...
What also really maybe helped was that my mom was not a working actor. So for me, like, my friends didn't really know that much of like what mom
But did you?
had done.
Like, did you follow her work growing up? Like, did you watch her films?
Some of them. I started watching them a little later.
Do you have a
I think,
favorite?
in life. I love Betab.
Ah.
Everybody talks about it. And Aina. I love Betab and Aina both a lot. Two States is a film that she did more recently.
More recently, yes.
Even though now becoming an actor, I realize that it's not always easy to play yourself, but that's actually her in real life. She tells me not to keep saying this. Yeah, she keeps telling me that I shouldn't say this publicly. But I feel Arjun Kapoor's pain in the film. I can just imagine how she would react, you know. These like politically incorrect things, and yeah, that's mom.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned Betab. I was going through some interview of
I
yours.
thought you meant I'm glad I mentioned her being politically incorrect. And I was like, let's change the subject.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.